they are giving us, and we wish, we hope also to continue obeying the same procedure what they did last year, especially from Sukuk, which was very nice, to push, to give us a push, to not stop. So I would like to thank you, and I wish all the best for Nigeria.
The economic is that the transport, the movement will be okay. Like before, somebody can take more than 4 hours, 6 hours from here to Port Harcourt, but for now, at least we have less of 1 hour or 2 hours. So, the federal government are trying.
It's 20 cm. Sub base is 20 cm, okay. And stone base is 20 cm. Stone sand and cement base is 15 cm, and banding course is 6 cm. Wearing course is 4 cm.
The Nigerians should be expecting, because the ministry, we are really having series of meetings with them, trying to push them to try and do more. Yes, we know that they have some issues with payment and all that, but thanks for the intervention of the Supreme Fund. So I believe with that in mind, they are going to deploy more equipment, more personnel, and push more so that they can be able to claim what they need.
Financially, the company are trying for workers. There is no problem with them.
They are paying on time.
And they are paying on time, and if you have problems, they will consign. They will leave concern. There are some companies, when you have problems, you don't want to see them. But this one, they are almost okay.
The work is going on. You can see by yourself that the diversion is normal. It didn't cause obstruction or causing disturbing people, but they are doing their normal work. The work is going on, and everybody is enjoying it, and everybody likes it.
While several government ongoing projects are still at various stages of completion, Nigerians are optimistic that with government's commitment to keeping its promises to deliver qualitative roads and infrastructure, the death of road infrastructure will soon be a thing of the past.
Nigerian handmade beaded necklaces have come in many different designs and styles. Some are plain strings of beads without any additional details, using brooches, pendant gemstones, or even crystals. These kinds of details make the African and Nigerian handmade beaded jewelry look more authentic and visually attractive. In the world of fashion, beads have evolved over the years, coming out in more fashionable ways. Women have been known to be associated with different kinds of accessories from ages, and today the use of beads have even become more trending, particularly those of handmade bead necklaces. Now get thrilled with some of the latest trends associated with beads. Nigerian handmade beaded necklaces are truly trending.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
This is the network service of the NTA. We now bring you a special broadcast by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. President, sir.
Fellow citizens, on Saturday, February 16, 2019, you will once again be called upon to choose the leaders who will pilot the affairs of our great nation for the next 4 years. This is a constitutional right which should be freely exercised by all eligible voters. I wish therefore to start by assuring all Nigerians that this government will do its very best to ensure that the 2019 elections take place in a secure and peaceful atmosphere. It was indeed such free, fair, and peaceful elections that made it possible for our government to emerge, despite the fact that we are contesting against a long-standing incumbent party. And as your president and a fellow Nigerian, I ask that you come out and queue to fulfill this important obligation you have to yourselves and your fellow citizens and to our common future. Let me at this point reaffirm the commitment of the federal government to the conduct of free and fair elections in a safe and peaceful atmosphere. Just yesterday, I signed the peace accord alongside 72 other presidential candidates. I want to assure all Nigerians, the diplomatic community, and all foreign election observers of their safety and full protection. Any comments or threats of intimidation from any source does not represent the position of the federal government of Nigeria. As government has a critical role in maintaining the democratic traditions So do citizens. I therefore urge you all, as good Nigerians, to take a personal interest in promoting and maintaining peace in your respective neighborhoods during the elections. This is certainly not a time to allow personal, religious, sectional, or party interests to drive us to desperation. At this point, I want to make a official appeal to our youth. Do not allow yourselves to be used to cause violence and destruction. The people who want to incite you are those preparing the ground for discrediting the elections. Having lost the argument, they fear losing the elections. When you elected me in 2015, it was essentially in consequence of my promise of change. We committed ourselves to improving security across the country, putting the economy on a sound footing and tackling rampant corruption, which had in many ways become a serious drawback to national development. Our government spent the last 3 years and 9 months striving faithfully to keep this promise, in spite of very serious revenue shortages caused mainly by a sharp drop in the international oil prices and an unexpected rise in the vandalization of oil installations, which mercifully have now been curtailed. We nevertheless pressed on in our quest to diversify the economy, create jobs, reduce commodity prices, and generally improve the standard of living among our people. The damage that insecurity and corruption have done over time to our collective livelihood is incalculable. However, it is pleasing to note that our frontal attack on these twin evils is gaining momentum and bringing about visible progress. The recovery of the economy from recession is complete, and Nigeria is back on the path of steady growth. The key to creating more jobs lies in accelerating this momentum of economic growth. Happily, we have succeeded in making the fundamental changes necessary for this acceleration, and we are now beginning to see the efforts bearing fruit. Our ease of doing business policies and programs are already impacting medium, small, and micro industries, as well as manufacturing, mining, and agriculture, among other key sectors. Our commitment to critical infrastructure, that is roads, rails, bridges, airports, and seaports, will create more jobs, improving the efficiency and competitiveness of our industries. Many of these projects are at different stages of completion, and those who use them regularly will attest to the fact that even while construction is ongoing, they are beginning to see reduced travel times. This will ultimately translate to reduced costs and greater convenience, making transportation and business in particular much easier. The economic recovery that we promise is well underway, as demonstrated by the recently released statistics. In 2018, the economy grew by 1.93%, with the fourth quarter growth being 2.38%, up from 1.81% in the third quarter. Remarkably, the strong economic performance was driven by the non-oil sector, which grew at 2% as at full year. Indeed, non-oil growth rose to 2.7% in the fourth quarter of 2018. 2018, up from 2.32% in the third quarter. These results further underscore our commitment to diversifying the economy away from first dependence on oil. Other indicators confirm the economy's steady recovery. Our monthly food import bill has declined from $664 million United States dollars in January 2015 to $160 million United States dollars as at October 2018. Inflation fell from 18.72% in January 2017 to 11.44% in December 2018. Our external reserves have risen from 23 billion United States dollars in October 2016 to 43.12 billion United States dollars at the 7th February 2019. Now that recession is well behind us, our next task is to redouble our efforts, accelerate the growth, and use it to create even more jobs for our people. The Executive Order number 5 and number 7, issued by me, and the recently approved National Infrastructure Maintenance Policy demonstrate our commitment to accelerate job creation and infrastructure development. We believe that governments cannot simply proclaim jobs into existence. Job creation will only expand as a result of economic policies that enable the private sector to flourish, and this is the approach our administration has taken. The Executive Order number 5, which promotes Nigerian content in contracts as well as science, engineering, and technology, will preserve and prioritize job creation for our citizens. Executive Order number 7 on the road infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme seeks to mobilize private capital and capacity for infrastructure development. It responds to the demands of manufacturers and industrial complexes who wish to construct access roads without waiting for government, so long as they are allowed to recover the cost from taxes they would have paid to government. We expect that this approach will boost industrial expansion and rural development, consequently creating more jobs for our people. Similarly, our recently issued maintenance policy targets artisans, carpenters, welders, tailors, painters, bricklayers, electricians, plumbers, landscapers, and many more ordinary Nigerians at the base of our economic pyramid who will get regular and large-scale opportunities to improve themselves. It is an economic solution that also brings the relevant artisans and professionals into long-term sustainable employment to maintain our schools, courtrooms, hospitals, police stations, federal secretariats, and other public buildings. Human capital development has also been a key priority for this administration, which has increased investments in health and education. Innovative measures have been introduced to complement the traditional budgetary allocation to the relevant ministries. For instance, Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority has invested 21 million United States dollars in 3 healthcare projects as a public-private partnership with 3 federal medical institutions. These include 2 modern medical diagnostic centers located at Amin Kano Teaching Hospital, Kano, and Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, as well as one outpatient center, treatment center in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Lagos, which I commissioned on the 9th February 2019. Of course, our radical commitment to developing critical infrastructure is the foundation upon which we will deliver an all-embracing national prosperity and a shared commonwealth. There is no country that aspires to greatness without spending massively on its critical infrastructure, rather than the discredited policy of stomach infrastructure, which could only benefit a few for a little while. We are focused on real infrastructural development for the growth of our economy and the long-term benefit of all Nigerians. When we voted for our message of change, you invited us to assume office and depart from that bad and most regrettable choice. We have responded by making a choice for real infrastructure of roads in every state, housing in 34 states, power stations across Nigeria, rail from Lagos to Kano. The choice that now confronts us is whether we want to continue with real infrastructure development, which is the road to prosperity and jobs, or return to the era of stomach infrastructure. Agricultural self-reliance and food security is also a choice we made in fulfillment of your mandate for change. Our presidential fertilizer initiative has resulted in savings of 150 million United States dollars in foreign exchange due to local sourcing of inputs at 16 blending plants. It has also conserved 60 billion naira in subsidies, as well as support tens of thousands of farmers and agro dealers nationwide. Our Anchor Borrowers program has substantially raised local rice yields from as low as 2 metric tons per hectare to as high as 8 metric tons per hectare. Through this program, the Central Bank of Nigeria has cumulatively lent over 120 billion naira to 720,000 smallholder farmers cultivating 12 commodities across the 36 states and Abuja. Targeted crops and livestock have included cattle, poultry, fish, cassava, soybeans, groundnut, ginger, sorghum, rice, wheat, cotton, and maize. As a result, we have seen a remarkable rise in the production of key agricultural commodities. I am pleased to note that in major departmental stores and local markets, there has been a surge in the supply of high-quality Nigerian agricultural produce. Behind each of these products are thousands of industrial Nigerians working in factories and farms across the nation. Our interventions have led to improved wealth and job creation for these Nigerians, particularly in our rural communities. Again, these outcomes have been a major departure from the previous focus on consuming imported food items, which literally exported our children's jobs to food exporting nations, whilst depleting our precious foreign exchange reserves. This, of course, caused a closure of our factories while keeping open other people's factories. The choice made by this administration to assist farmers directly and promote agriculture in every way possible has gone a long way to enhance our food security while enabling us to tackle poverty by feeding over 9 million children daily under our homegrown school feeding program. It also puts us clearly on the road to becoming a food secure and agriculture exporting nation. Next to agriculture, we are focusing on manufacturing sector. The Purchasing Managers Index, which is the measure of manufacturing activities in an economy, has risen for 22 consecutive months as at January this year, indicating continuous growth and expansion in our manufacturing sector. I will conclude by going back to where I started, that our choices have had consequences about employment and cost of living. In making your choice this time, please ask yourself whether and in what ways others will do anything different to address the issues of agriculture, infrastructure, security, good governance, and fighting corruption. If they are only hoping to do what we are already doing successfully, we are clearly your preferred choice. Think carefully and choose wisely. This time, it is a choice about consolidating on growth for jobs and prosperity. February 16th is about a choice, but it is more than a choice between APC and the opposition. It is a choice about you. It is a choice between going back or keeping the momentum of change. The road to greater prosperity for Nigeria may be long, but what you can be assured of is a leadership that is not prepared to sacrifice the future well-being of Nigerians for our own personal and material needs. You can be assured of my commitment to remain focused on working to improve the lives of all Nigerians. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. By assuring all Nigerians that this government will do its very best to ensure that the 2019 elections take place in a secure and peaceful atmosphere.
President Buhari reaffirms commitment to free, fair and credible elections.
Any attempt by any individual or organization under whatever name to usurp this role is a recipe for chaos and anarchy.
And federal government cautions opposition to desist from undermining the electoral process.
You will build trust and confidence in the electorates.
As the world focuses on Nigeria this Saturday, observation teams set to monitor the elections. APC rounds off presidential campaign in Katsina. President Muhammadu Buhari commends Nigerians, urges them to go out en masse to perform their franchise. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News tonight. I am Kirian Umayo, and reading with me from Lagos and is Ruth Ario Samuel. President Muhammadu Buhari has once more assured Nigerians, international community and foreign observers of a credible and peaceful elections as Nigerians go to the polls for the 2019 elections starting on Saturday. President Buhari was speaking in a national broadcast. Musbao Dan Wahab highlights the president's message.
The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari came into being with promises of improved security, fight against corruption, and economic development. The president said his administration has kept to these promises religiously, and the results are evident. He said, now that the recession is well behind the country with sound footing established, the next task is to redouble efforts, accelerate the growth, and use it to create more jobs for Nigerian people.
The Executive Order number 5 and number 7 issued by me and the recently approved National Infrastructure Maintenance Policy demonstrate our commitment to accelerate job creation and infrastructure development.
According to him, the economic growth, which was mainly driven by the non-oil sector, grew from 1.81% in the third quarter of 2018 to 2.83% in the fourth quarter of the same year. He pointed to the country's monthly food import bill, which has declined from $664 million in January 2015 to $116 million as at October 2018. Inflation declined from 18.72% in January 2017 to 11.44% in December 2018, while the external reserves rose from $23 billion in October 2016 to $43.12 billion as at 7th February 2019. Apart from the roads, rail, and seaport constructions, he said his government has continued to invest heavily in human development, healthcare delivery, education development, affordable housing, and other critical sectors.
Rather than the discredited policy of stomach infrastructure, which could only benefit a few for a little while, we are focused on real infrastructural development for the growth of our economy and the long-term benefit of all Nigerians.
President Buhari also highlighted various policies, including the Anchor Borrowers Program and the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which has resulted in savings of $150 million in foreign exchange and 60 million naira in subsidies due to local sourcing of inputs at 16 blending plants. And so, he said the forthcoming election only provides Nigerians with clear options of whether to support his government with its trajectory of real infrastructure development or to go back to the old ways. The president, who acknowledged that his government is a product of a free, fair and credible election, assured that the 2019 edition too would not fall short under his watch.
I want to assure all Nigerians, the diplomatic community, and all foreign election observers of their safety and full protection. Any comments or threats of intimidation from any source does not represent the position of the federal government of Nigeria.
That's why the government is showing commitment. President Buhari implored the citizenry to take personal interest in promoting and maintaining peace in their respective neighborhoods during the elections. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NT News.
And joining me now in the studio to discuss President Buhari's broadcast to the nation is public affairs analyst Mohammed Bello Shehu. Good evening and welcome to Network News.
Good evening, sir.
Now you have listened to the President broadcast on a free, fair and credible election. What's your take?
Yes, I did. I think it's remarkable that at this point in our history,
President Muhammadu Buhari has been bestowed with the leadership of Nigeria, coming after his first appearance as head of state during the military administration. I say remarkable because, you know, many people don't give soldiers or don't consider them to be good Democrats. But remarkably, I think President Muhammadu Buhari has done more than any other civilian, in my opinion. You know, the way he piloted the affairs of Nigeria and the way he carries about his duties and responsibilities as a president of Nigeria, because what he said today is more like a summary or a closing argument of what his government has been able to do for Nigeria. And some of these things that he said are facts that can be verified by even his own enemies. So I think it's a very good speech. It touches on the economy, it touches on security, it touches on infrastructure. He also assured the international community of their safety and well-being while in Nigeria, while urging Nigerian citizens to go out and vote. Even though this can be considered as a closing argument, trying to tell Nigerians that he has done enough to justify his own re-election, he was telling Nigerians, every Nigerian citizen should go out on Saturday to exercise his or her civic responsibilities and elect the person of their choice. This is a remarkable difference from what used to happen, at least in the last maybe 16 years or so.
All right, now, from your observation, how would you describe the mood of the nation vis-a-vis the election coming on Saturday?
Well, I think Nigerians are excited because we are now beginning to understand what democracy is all about. I know some lawyers and some people are not happy because this election is different from 2015 and the previous elections, because whenever you say elections are coming, you see people will think that money is going to be made available by politicians. Because over the years, what used to happen is, if you are running for House of Reps or you are running for Senate or State Assembly or even the president, you have to have tons of money and go and be distributing it to people. But now you can see even the ruling party is struggling to see how they can be able to really actually prosecute the election. So, you know, that's what is going on.
All right, thank you very much indeed for your time and your thoughts on Network News tonight. Mohammed Bello Shehu is a public affairs analyst. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, now back to the news. The Emir of Katsina, Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, says support for the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari by the people of Katsina State is a matter of honor and great pride. This was while he received the president on a courtesy visit to his palace, describing it as very symbolic in the nation's quest for sustainable future. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has that report.
Katsina, home of hospitality, is the last stop by the APC presidential campaign train in its vote-seeking enterprise for the forthcoming elections. It is equally the last place and perhaps the last time President Muhammadu Buhari will be campaigning for himself as a candidate for any elective position. For the people of Katsina, this is an honor of remarkable significance by a worthy son widely acclaimed as truthful, honest, full of integrity, selfless, and most importantly, humane. No wonder, therefore, the reception accorded the Nigerian leader on arrival in the state capital in demonstration of support, appreciation, and goodwill by the people is better seen than imagined. The Emir of Katsina, Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, while receiving the president in his palace, assured him that a show of support and affection demonstrated on the streets of Katsina was genuine. He described as a thing of pride for the people of Katsina the leadership qualities of the president, principles, and indeed his performance in the Change Nigeria project. The monarch emphasized in particular that the fight against corruption being championed by the president is a revolution worthy of support by all.
Corruption corrupts. Absolute corruption corrupts absolutely.
He promised continued understanding, cooperation and loyalty of Katsina people to the president as he strives to take the country to the next level. President Muhammadu Buhari thanked the Emir and the people of Katsina for the honor done to him, which he said will never be forgotten. He promised to not only remain alive to his responsibilities, but discharge them conscientiously towards achieving a greater Nigeria.
In
Katsina, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And still in Katsina, ahead of Saturday's presidential election, the All Progressives Congress has concluded its presidential campaigns in the state. President Muhammadu Buhari commended Nigerians for their support throughout the campaigns and promised that if re-elected, he will uphold his renewed commitment on fighting corruption and insecurity as well as building the economy. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi reports.
The APC presidential campaign journey that began in Akwa Ibom State on the 28th December 2018 were rounded off in Katsina State, home state of President Buhari. Commercial and other activities were grounded as supporters of APC and fans of President Buhari from across the state converged on the Muhammadu Dikko Stadium to witness the grand finale. Party faithful were urged to come out en masse to vote for the successful re-election of President Buhari.
The beauty of democracy is that by next tomorrow, if you are a billionaire, you have one vote. You are an editor of a newspaper, you have one vote. You are Talaka in Katsina State, you have one vote.
President Muhammadu Buhari restated his determination for a better Nigeria.
In 2015, we campaigned on three main issues to fight corruption, boost the economy, and fight insecurity. We thank God we have made progress in the Northeast. Peace has returned. And on the economy, farmers are taking advantage of various government interventions to ensure food security in the country.
Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has expressed gratitude to the people of Daura, in particular women and youths, for their unwavering support to her husband, describing it as the source of his victory all along. Mrs. Buhari said this in Daura while rounding off the door-to-door campaign embarked upon by the Women and Youths Presidential Campaign Team. State House correspondent Ali Kabir was there.
The Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Team embarked in a door-to-door exercise across the country, and here we are today with Mrs. Buhari, rounding off the final segment of the activity in Daura. Herself and other members of the entourage, comprising the wife of the governor of Katsina State, Zakia Bello Masari, have been going round house to house. The message is completely voter education, enlightening women why it is necessary for them to vote President Muhammadu Buhari.
This is our voting area, so I've arrived today. I've started door to door, and I'm going to meet the larger crowd at the Emir's Palace to educate them more on how to avoid having invalid votes.
It was indeed the large number of party supporters of both women and youth received the wife of the president at Kangiwa Square in Daura Emirate Council. Various speakers swung into action, enumerating good policies and programs of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Democracy has come to stay, and it seems that the whole of this country, it was only General Buhari that was tested and trusted. We have finished 4 years. We're about to start another 4 years by the grace of God. After him, who next? This is an opportunity for the women and youths and those that are really patriotic Nigerians to come forward and say that after Buhari, it should be me.
Mrs. Buhari had earlier paid a visit to the Emir of Daura, Farouk Umar Farouk, solicited for his prayers and blessings. In Daura, Katsina State, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has appreciated former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, for his continuous support for Nigeria and the growth of her democracy. A special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, in a statement says the President, who took a telephone call from President Clinton Wednesday night, described him as a friend of the country, while commending his constant support for the peace, stability and progress of Nigeria under a democratic dispensation. President Buhari also assured him of his commitment to free, fair and credible elections in the weeks ahead. President Clinton, who regretted his inability to visit the country to witness the signing of the final peace accord before the general elections, wished Nigeria well as citizens to go to the polls. The 2019 presidential election is an opportunity for Nigerians to endorse and validate the activities of the Buhari presidency. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo made the observation when members of the Northern Forum of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, announced the endorsement of the presidential ticket for Saturday's polls. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity of the Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, says Professor Osinbajo is confident that the Almighty God has seen the honesty and integrity that the President has brought to bear and should be rewarded. Now more on the elections. Chief Observer of the Observation Mission for the European Union on the 2019 elections in Nigeria, Maria Arena, has congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari and other candidates in the coming elections for the signing of the peace accord. Jide Onifade reports. Others are arriving to be part of the process. Latest is a delegation of the Electoral Institute of Smooth Africa, led by the former president of the Zambia, Rupia Banda, as the team visits the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
We, as I have said, attach great importance to Nigeria, and we know how complex, because of the size of the country and the size of the population of Nigeria, we know how complicated these elections will be. And therefore, we wish the Nigerian people, under your leadership, Mr. Chairman, very successful elections.
In terms of security, we have been in constant touch with the security agencies, not only for your protection, but also to grant you unimpeded access to wherever you may wish to deploy.
The Presidential and National Assembly election will hold on Saturday, 16th February, as scheduled. This is contrary to rumors making the rounds that the elections are to be shifted by a few weeks. The fact that the elections will hold as scheduled was reinforced by the peace accord signed by the presidential candidates, after which President Muhammadu Buhari also met with security chiefs. Members of the public are advised to disregard the rumors and go out to discharge their civic responsibility. The forthcoming elections only constitute an impetus in consolidating democracy in the most populous nation in Africa, but the outcome will also impact on the socio-economic, political and security order of the region, giving Nigeria's strategic position and influence. Former Liberian President and head of the ECOWAS Observer Mission, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, said this at a briefing with election observers in Abuja, as Dennis Adegunloye tells us.
A country's democratic resilience is tested during election time, and the former Liberian president emphasized this fact, making reference to the successes in particular of the 2015 general elections.
You will build trust and confidence in the electorates. You will also build trust in the democratic processes and enhance the legitimacy of the government that will emerge from the process.
The former Liberian leader is mindful of the fact that the onus to hold peaceful, free and fair elections rests with the Nigerian people. And she is optimistic that the political parties will conduct themselves in a manner which will achieve this. From the ECOWAS Commission headquarters in Abuja, I am Dennis at Dignloy, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari's second-term bid got a boost near Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, from a group known as Retired Kwara State Civil Servants. Anthony Folson tells us more.
The forum was an interactive session with the retired civil servants and the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in the state. The retirees, one after the other, took turns to recount their experiences while in service and in retirement. In their prayers to the leadership of the party, they submitted that their coming together is born out of the support for a change in administration and governance in the state, expressing bitterness how the state has retrogressed since 2003. For the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, he appeals to them not to lose hope, saying,
"The choice we make on Saturday and on March 2nd will go a long way in determining our well-being in the years ahead."
Representative of the APC governorship candidate in the state promised that their candidate and the party have a clear picture of the situation in Kwara State. In Ilorin, Anthony Folson, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports after the break.
The UN compound houses about 400 employees.
The Nigerian capital Abuja is still reeling from Monday morning's rush hour bomb.
If the group did carry out the attack, it would be one of its worst.
2 suicide bombings in Nigeria. One targeted a convoy carrying Nigeria's main opposition leader.
Gun attack on the central mosque in North Nigeria's biggest city, Kano.
21 people have died in a large explosion at the Banex Plaza shopping centre in the capital, Abuja.
Islamist extremists brought Christmas carnage to churches across Nigeria.
I bring greetings from all of us in the diaspora. Let's protect our future. Let's develop our country so those of us abroad can be proud to return home. Let's vote for integrity. Let's vote for development. Let's vote for the next level. I stand with Muhammadu Buhari.
It has taken the previous government about 10 years to destroy Nigerian economy. And it's much, much more easier to destroy than to build.
We virtually achieved food security. We made fertilizer available. At virtually half the price, we met it. And we are producing it locally. We don't import rice virtually anymore. And we are even exporting grains.
Petroleum products have gone drastically down from about 140 to $50. For Nigeria, that's a major setback.
When we came, it was 20-something billion. It's now 43-something billion.
We are very, very serious about corruption and reorganizing the economic institutions of the country.
His popularity in Delta State is outstanding. Deltans love and adore our president. APC! From Warri, Agbo, Asaba, and Ogwashu. From Iseluku, Obiaruku, Ugeli, Ozoro, Owe, and Sapele. Come with us to Bamadi, Burutu, Ole, and Abraka. Everywhere in Delta, our people yearn for Mr. President. Let's vote and re-elect President Muhammad Buhari as president. Vote Great Oveja Ogboru for governor. Vote APC.
My people, we are getting better, we are going higher. Today points to the future and the next level. We are better and moving forward.
Nigeria, land of great people. The general elections are here again. Exercise your civic responsibility. The Christian Council of Nigeria is calling Nigerians of voting age to participate actively in the electoral process. Your vote is your power. It's your right. Yes, your vote counts. Shun tribal, religious and ethnic sentiments. Support politics without violence. It's one person, one vote. Let us conduct ourselves orderly during and after the elections. Don't be used as a political thug. Together, we can make Nigeria greater. This message is powered by the Christian Council of Nigeria, CCN.
Some people say, nah, Buhari, I cause the problem Nigeria get. Nigeria people, we say na lie. Nah, Buhari, they help prepare them. We they see the good work Buhari they do for we country. That's why we say, now we want to. Good work everywhere, anti-corruption fight. Our refinery done the work, we done they grow. Our food, our people say, nah, Buhari. For Niger Delta, nah, Buhari. People of Niger Delta don't talk, na Muhammadu Buhari. We all don't agree to vote as president. We all don't enjoy the peace. We don't our Niger Delta region. See the Ogoni land clean up where President Buhari don't launch. We're gonna make them clean everywhere for our land. Now so they join all our elders and youths together to decide the matter. We're gonna better for we all. Area! Make we all come out on Saturday and vote President Muhammadu Buhari as president. This is a message now from Niger Delta Coalition for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has directed all distribution companies in the country to conduct customer enumeration in their respective franchise areas and to complete the exercise by the 31st of March 2019. The Commission hereby urges all consumers to cooperate with the DISCOs in this exercise. This is very important and it is in the interest of consumers as it will improve metering and help DISCOs to respond to electricity issues quickly. Sign, Management.
Thanks for staying with us on tonight's Network News. The Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Bello Dambasa, has directed the closure of all Nigerian land borders with effect from 12 noon Friday, February 15 to 12 noon Saturday, 17th February 2019. A statement by the Comptroller, Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Bandere, says that this is to restrict movement across the borders during the elections. The public is hereby advised to take note and ensure compliance. Now, emerging democracies in Africa and Nigeria in particular have a lot to learn from the advanced democratic institutions around the world in order to strengthen its own evolving processes. The Deputy National Chairman of the ruling party, Senator Lawa Shuaibu, said this when he received an election observer team led by former President of Botswana, Festus Mogae, in Abuja. Ahmed reports.
The National Democratic Institute of the United States has a 14-man election observer team for the 2019 presidential election in Nigeria. The team assists engaged political parties and other stakeholders for a successful election on Saturday.
When one has responsibility for the nation as a whole, in the end, what one says and what one does should be aimed at building the nation.
The team, while interacting with APC National Deputy Chairman Senator Lawa Shuaibu, pointed out areas of improvements and offered to support. Senator Lawa Shuaibu acknowledged the impact of the Institute to Nigeria's democracy, noting that the country will keep perfecting the system. Senator Shuaibu also sees the peace accord signed by all the presidential candidates as an antidote to peaceful polls.
The NDI and RI have been very good partners. They have helped Nigeria's democracy in so many ways.
The Election Observer Group is to monitor elections in 16 states of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Ahmed, NTA News.
17 more judges of the nation's election petitions tribunals have been sworn in. The swearing-in was performed in Abuja by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, at the Supreme Court, from where Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
This group of chairmen and members of the election petition tribunals just sworn in are to complement the 250 earlier sworn in by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, who reminded them of the sensitivity of the assignment before them. He said this task would show how reliable the content of their conscience can be to national development.
There's no doubt that you would be exposed to different forms of temptations and even blackmails. But you should know that all are aimed at testing your strength of character, honesty, and integrity.
Already, the chairmen and members of the various election petition tribunals are undergoing trainings, after which they will be posted to their various states. Just as President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bukachua, has constituted the FCT National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The federal government has cautioned the main opposition party, PDP, not to engage in acts capable of throwing the country into anarchy on account of its desperation to grab power at all costs, as this country's unity and survival overrides any party's ambition. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said this at a media briefing in Ilori. Anthony Folson was there for NTA News.
Disclosing that there are ongoing attempts by the People's Democratic Party to discredit results of the general elections is a deliberate invitation to anarchy in the opposition's latest moves, which was noted in the statement credited to it.
The latest manifestation of this desperation was revealed at a press conference by the PDP on Wednesday, during which the party said it will set up a parallel electoral body under the tag of parallel voting tabulation, PVT system. The PDP said clearly that the parallel voting tabulation is a tool that will determine whether or not it accepts the results of the election.
The minister pointed that the international and national observers' attention have been drawn to the effect that the strategy the main opposition is about to adopt negates all rules of the game.
Any attempt by any individual organization, under whatever name, to usurp this role is a recipe for chaos and anarchy.
The minister, however, warned the People's Democratic Party of the dire consequences should it proceed to usurp the role of INEC, being the only body with the constitutional right to conduct elections in the country. In Ilori, Anthony Folson, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization has described People's Democratic Party's parallel voting tabulation system, PVTs, as a device to undermine the system, rig the election, create credibility crisis, and create chaos in the aftermath of the election. In a statement by its chairman, Niyi Akinsuji, and Secretary Cassidy Madueke, BMO says the new template by PDP is born out of a campaign lacking in execution and strategy, and believes that this strategy will also fail. The PRO Buhari Group urges well-meaning Nigerians to come out and vote for their conscience, to choose a party headed by a man who, despite holding several public offices in the past, has never been indicted in any corrupt cases. Barely 48 hours to presidential and National Assembly elections, Kano State Police Command has intercepted a vehicle loaded with 14 bags of specimen ballot papers and 4 suspects arrested. Mansur Aliyu Hassan reports that the State Police Command has commenced full-scale investigation on that.
The vehicle conveying the suspected materials was said to be from a neighboring state. The ballot paper specimens were concealed in 14 bags. Those arrested in connection with the act said the ballot papers are not meant for election, but a specimen for demonstration. Kano State Police Command said investigation is ongoing to ascertain the claim.
These ballot papers we arrested, they are not real ballot papers. They are specimen ballot papers.
Meanwhile, a number of suspected criminals have been arrested by the State Police Command following a raid in their hideouts. In Kano, Mansur Aliyu Hassan, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has deployed 19,000 personnel to facilitate the success of the general elections and ensure smooth delivery of election materials, as well as respond swiftly to cases involving the health challenges of the electorate. Corps Marshal of the FRSC, Boboyo Oyemi, at the event tasked personnel to be neutral while carrying out their responsibility during the elections. Emmanuel Animiro reports.
Most critical during the election is access to mobility. The sensitization training, therefore, is to prepare members of the Corps on quick response to distress calls.
We've commenced removal of all the obstructions, and all our ambulances, I think it's about 70 advanced life support ambulances, will be strategically deployed. Paraventure, sometimes when people queue for voting, they can slump. The paramedics will provide immediate support and move them to the nearest hospital.
The 19,000 personnel have been directed to work in conjunction with other security agencies to ensure free, fair and credible elections. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Women in Bauchi State have staged a mega rally in support of re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and APC. Bulak Hafsa has the report.
For close to 3 hours, Government House Road to Emirs Drive down to the heart of Bauchi town, Winty Roundabout, experienced congestion as a result of a mega rally held in favor of President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Abdullahi Abubakar's re-election. Organized by the office of the wife of the governor, Hajia Hadiza Abdullahi Abubakar.
We just concluded a street campaign for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor M.A. Abubakar under the APC platform.
Hajia Borodo calls for support of all Nigerians to make APC's dream become a reality for the second time. In Bauchi, Bulak Afsa, NTA News.
The chairman, Central Committee, Women and Youth Wing of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, General Muhammadu Buba Mara, has described as unprecedented the support President Muhammadu Buhari is enjoying from across the nation ahead of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. General Mara said this at a grand rally in Yola to mobilize women and youth for President Buhari's re-election. Riano Bala reports.
The rally brought together APC faithfuls and supporters from the 21 local government areas of the state to further drum support for the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in Saturday's election. The campaign train, which kicks off from Yola Airport Gate, traversed through the major streets of Yola North and Yola South with different banners indicating total support for the president's re-election. General Marwa, while expressing satisfaction with the support President Muhammadu Buhari is enjoying from the length and breadth of Nigeria, urged the electorate to come out en masse and vote for APC and ensure their votes count for the consolidation of Nigeria project.
Everybody has his own PVC, so keep it, and on Saturday, by the grace of Allah, vote President Muhammadu Buhari back for the second time to take Nigeria to the next level.
In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
The speculations that the Court of Appeal sitting in Sokoto on Wednesday upheld the ruling of the Zamfara State High Court has been debunked. The appeal court only dismissed one of the several appeals which was filed by the principal appellant. Aminusani Judge Shehu Mohammed Dati has the report.
The dismissal of the appeal court is contained in the judgment delivered by Justice Jummai Hannatu Senke of the Court of Appeal. The second appeal that is pending is that of Senator Kabiru Garba Marapa, but no court has confirmed the judgment of the Zamfara State High Court, which was delivered on January 25, 2019. It is also not true that the Court of Appeal has made any order to accept the APC list, indicating that the order of the Court of Appeal has been misinterpreted.
It is not true that the Court of Appeal affirmed or confirmed the judgment of the High Court of Zamfara given on the 25th of January.
The appeal filed by distinguished Senator Marava is still pending to be heard by the Court of Appeal.
Amin Sani Jaji was dissatisfied with the judgment of the High Court in Zamfara and filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal in Sokoto. Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Gida Mustafa, has stressed the need for elders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to ensure that youths are not involved in any form of violence during and after the 2019 general elections. The SGF made the assertion during a town hall meeting with elders of APC from 7 local government areas that made up the Adamawa Central Senatorial Zone. Riano Bala reports.
People of Adamawa Central say people of the state will not regret voting APC at all levels, considering the impact of the present administration in the state. Representatives of the elders across the 7 local governments of the Adamawa Central unanimously endorsed the second-term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari and all APC candidates for continuous development.
This is a very, very strategic senatorial district for anybody that wants to win Adamawa. And for that reason, I felt that we needed to share some information that will be very helpful in ensuring our victory.
In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has flagged down its presidential campaign rally in Yola, Adamawa State. Tafawa Hamza Mayo takes up the report from here.
It is a homecoming to the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. Addressing the gathering, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar said under his leadership, Nigeria will be transformed socially and economically.
What I want to say on your behalf to other Nigerians is that we are grateful to all Nigerians for giving us this opportunity.
The national chairman PDP, Uche Secondos, told the gathering that Atiku has all it takes to take Nigeria to greater heights. The Adamawa State PDP governorship candidate, among other speakers, appreciated the Adamawa people for the love shown to all PDP candidates and urged them to translate that by voting for them. Yola, Tafawa, Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the Lamido of Adamawa Alhaji Muhammadu Barkindo Aliyu Mustafa on the joyous occasion of his 75th birthday anniversary. A statement by the senior special assistant to the president, Garba Shehu, says President Buhari commends the Lamido's dedication to the improvement of lives in his domain, as well as his steadfast insistence on peace, security, progress, and unity of the nation. The president also thanked the Lamido for the grand reception accorded him during the courtesy visit to his palace in Yola and for the courage to publicly declare support for his re-election. The president praised God to continue to grant him good health and more years of service to his people and humanity. Well, you're watching NTA Network News. We now join Ruth in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Kieran. Thank you and a warm welcome to Lagos. The All Progressives Congress, APC, today concluded its presidential election campaigns with a charge by the national leader of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for members to conduct themselves peacefully during and after the polls. He urged party loyalists to ensure they deliver 5 million votes for President Muhammadu Buhari and his running mate, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Doin Dia reports.
This critical stakeholders meeting between the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and party leaders and loyalists is to put final touches to the preparations for the 2019 election.
The atmosphere is charged, everybody is ready, we are all in happy mood, we are confident that we win. Our candidate is a sellable man, so we don't have any doubt in our mind that we'll come out victorious on Saturday, 16th of February 2019, and also on March 2nd, 2019.
Doin Dia, NTA News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in Lagos State has taken delivery of sensitive material preparatory for Saturday's elections. Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports.
The materials which arrived the INEC office around 2:48 p.m. amidst tight security contain ballot papers and results sheets. INEC Public Relations Officer Lagos State Femi Akinbiyi said the arrival of the material is a testimony that the commission is fully ready for the general election.
After offloading, it will be distributed. If you look at down, that is Lagos East. If you look at that, that's where those material will be housed, and then they will be distributed. There are some local government in each of the senatorial district, and from that places, from those 3 designated areas you see around, is from there. The local government you belong to is where you pick your materials, and then you move to your local government.
Meanwhile, some technical officers at the commission were seen busy fixing some electoral materials in preparation for Saturday polls. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. More reports ahead after.
Persuaded that Nigeria needs a man who is credible. I am Chris Okotie. Dependable and trustworthy.
I am Chris Okotie.
I am Chris Okotie.
My mandate, therefore, will be to set a government which I've christened Government of National Reconciliation and Reconstruction as the mechanical instrumentality for the crystallization of the new Nigeria of our dreams. It's time to love Nigeria. It's time to fix Nigeria. I'm Reverend Chris Okotie.
It's time to fix Nigeria. If you love Nigeria, say, aha, aha.
Yes, President Muhammadu Buhari has reduced the registration fees for NECO examinations. He has reduced senior school certificate examination fee from 11,350 naira to 9,850 naira. Basic education certificate examination fee from 6,000 naira to 4,000 naira. Common entrance examination fee from 5,000 naira to 2,500. And guess what? The era of impersonation is over. The council has designed a biometric verification device for screening candidates before going into the examination halls or centers. The scratch card purchase has been eliminated. You can now log online to get all required information from our website www.neco.gov.ng. Accredited schools can now go to our state offices to get the registration manuals for offline registration. This message is brought to you by National Examination Council, NECO.
2019, Atiku Abubakar. See, we don't articulate. Get articulated. I go follow the man where sabi the photo. I go follow the man where sabi the walk. I go follow the man where go create employment. I go follow the man where go stop the hunger. I go vote for the movement where go make Nigeria walk again. I don't articulate. people articulate, my Yoruba people don't articulate. Niger Delta articulate, Hausa people don't articulate. Roma articulate, Igala, Ishekiri, Nupe, Manuri, everybody don't articulate.
For a better Nigeria, vote Atiku Abubakar for president 2019.
At the last general elections, only 47% of registered voters voted. This year,
we will change
that. As the election approaches,
make healthcare, employment,
infrastructure an issue.
polls open by 8 a.m. and close by 2 p.m.
After voting, stay back peacefully and ensure your votes are counted.
Report incidents and observation to the situation room.
Text or call
0802 181 2999
or
0909 5050 505.
tweet at Situation Room NG.
Hashtag SR Observes 2019.
Hashtag SR 2019 elections. If you have your PVC,
Get set.
get set to vote.
The public treasury is a trust, and nobody can tamper with it and get away with it.
When our hope was lost due to high level of embezzlement in the land, there came a man with zero tolerance for corruption.
I am Muhammad Buhari,
a man promoting transparency and accountability in governance, a man who has sustained and strengthened Nigerian economy, boosting our relationship with other nations to enhance our economic growth and development, strengthening the nation's security for safety of lives and properties, a man of integrity, increasing support for micro, small and medium enterprises through trader money, market money and other social intervention programs, tremendous investment in agriculture, visible infrastructure developments.
I promise to be accountable to Nigerians.
Vote Muhammadu Buhari for president and Yemi Osinbajo. Vote APC.
Hello Nigerians. I bring you greetings from all of us in the diaspora. Let's protect our future. Let's develop our country so those of us abroad can be proud to return home. Let's vote for integrity. Let's vote for development. Let's vote for the next level. As a member of Team Nigeria for Change, I stand with Muhammadu Buhari.
What does next level mean? Simple. Economic growth. Since President Buhari spent the first term focusing on fixing security and corruption, he has built the foundation for growing our economy. And in his second term, he will focus on creating jobs, millions of jobs. We will invest in a huge infrastructure development plan, using rail and road to connect every major city in Nigeria. This means travel for people will be cheaper, goods will be cheaper, and it will provide over 1 million jobs in construction, logistics, maintenance, and services. This means more money in your pocket, which is a very definition of economic growth. By creating these jobs, we shall increase prosperity and decrease poverty. Make the right choice. Vote for Buhari. We are building a strong Nigerian economy for all.
More reports now. Wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has expressed gratitude for the support and cooperation she received by all the team players of the Women and Youth Presidential Campaign team throughout the campaign period. A State House correspondent, Alui Kabir, reports that Mrs. Buhari stated this when she received the President at their direct residence, who has finally arrived his hometown after completing the APC Presidential Campaign mega rally in Katsina. While appreciating all the members of the team, the wife of the president used the opportunity to call on Nigerians to get their voters' cards ready and come out en masse to vote President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday, 16th February 2019. Now we take another break. I'll be back shortly.
Say Baba for continuity, say Baba, Muhammadu Buhari,
Nigerians, let us all come out to return President Muhammadu Buhari to office to finish the good work he has begun. Be it in roads, thousands of kilometers of roads have been rehabilitated. In agriculture, Rice importation is at its barest minimum. Corruption is no longer as it used to be. President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to tackle the menace of insecurity. The exchange rate is gradually finding stability after years of mismanagement of the economy. Fellow Nigerians, this is an opportunity for you to vote to guarantee your future and the future of your children. Vote wisely. Vote President Muhammadu Buhari. Powered by the APC Delta State Presidential Campaign Council.
We live in a movie-like reality.
You can predict all the bad things.
People will die
from lack of health care. Accidents will occur due to bad roads.
Children will roam the streets for lack of education.
ASU will go on strike during an academic year. Every vote counts. It is easier
to watch your vote in action.
Now I just monitor my vote.
It is easy to report an incident
or make an observation
by sending a WhatsApp message
or text to
08021812999 or 09095050505.
Or you could follow at Situation Room NG on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I will vote on issues.
I will vote on issues. I will vote on issues.
On election day, here is how to handle your ballot paper from the point of collection from the polling official to the point of casting your ballot.
Once a voter is accredited, he is given the ballot paper holder.
After thumbprinting the ballot in secret, fold the ballot paper inward and flatten. Then proceed to the area where the ballot box is placed in the open and deposit the ballot paper into the appropriate box. Ensure the ballot paper is properly folded. Fold your ballot paper properly. Avoid mishandling your ballot paper and prevent blot ballots.
We are going to introduce quick dry impact so that will eliminate the risk of smashing and spoiling the ballot paper.
INEC, making your vote count, consolidating our democracy.
His popularity in Delta State is outstanding. Deltans love and adore our president. APC! From Warri, Agbo, Asaba, and Ogwashi. From Iseluku, Obiaruku, Ugeli, Ozoro, Owe, and Sapele. Come with us to Bamadi, Burutu, Ole, and Abraka. Everywhere in Delta, our people yearn for Mr. President. Let's vote and re-elect President Muhammadu Buhari as president. Vote Great Obeja Ogboru for governor. Vote APC.
The creative and information technology sectors of the Nigerian economy will soon get the needed government support to enhance growth and contribute to the positive figures of the nation's GDP. Chimaobi Watanaj was at the 342nd Bankers Committee meeting in Abuja and filed in this report.
Statistics from the International Monetary Fund showed a slow global economic growth which is expected to affect most of the emerging economies. This meeting of the Bankers Committee focused on ways of ensuring Nigeria is not affected by the global economic meltdown. Hence, the committee's readiness to focus more attention on the creative industry, which has been identified as a multi-billion-dollar industry. The aim is to create more jobs and improve capacity of young talented Nigerians.
So the impact of this will be to give these young people the opportunity to unleash their creative energies, to be able to start things on their own.
If you look at the demographics of those who contribute to the four verticals we mentioned, a lot of them are youths, and this will further promote youth empowerment.
The committee agreed that tech hubs will be created around the country to help grow the music, movies and fashion industries for youth empowerment and knowledge sharing among the participants.
And what the Bankers Committee wants to do is to help to provide relevant infrastructure, or rather funding, that industry participants would use to create relevant infrastructure and shared facilities for each and every vertical that I mentioned.
The investments into these sectors, the committee believes, no doubt will increase the country's tourism potential, enrich the foreign exchange reserves, and act as a catalyst for the development of Nigeria's creative industry. In Abuja, Chimubi Walter Naji, NTA News.
For more than 50 years, the Niger Bridge has been the only link between the east and western Nigeria. Attempts by previous governments to provide alternative structure have not yielded positive result, mainly due to lack of political will. With commitment considered unprecedented, the Buhari administration is today undertaking the construction of the second Niger Bridge. Works and Housing correspondent Malam Sheikh brings up to date on the progress of work on this gigantic national structure that will, on completion, connect Nigeria to the West and even East African countries.
The idea of constructing a second Niger Bridge to complement the existing one was first mooted more than 30 years ago. For more than 5 decades, the Niger Bridge has remained not just crucial, but the only link between the west and southern parts of Nigeria. All these years, the bridge has endured excessive axle loads and immense traffic congestion resulting from high economic activity on that corridor.
Once they build this new construction road, now things will change.
With prudent management of resources, the project is being funded directly by the federal government, which has given impetus to the already impressive progress of work on the national structure.
The government has committed over 3.5 billion to compensate the community.
With the major contract awarded at the cost of 206 billion naira, main works on the second Niger Bridge commenced in September 2018. In just 5 months, the all-important structure has already taken shape, with the major pillars being erected.
I can confirm we are not facing any challenges. Finance is available. We have been paid.
Work is also progressing steadily on the construction of 2 approach roads, 2.8 kilometers on the Asaba side and 7 kilometers on Onitsha side. The federal government says constant funding of the project will be maintained to ensure its completion on schedule for enhanced economic growth and development.
For long, over 30 or 40 years, we have neglected, the infrastructure aspect of development. And development, doesn't happen, in the vacuum. Infrastructure has to be there, especially the road infrastructure.
All right, and that concludes our network news for tonight. And up ahead on NTA Network Service is our political program, The Ballot. Thank you for watching.
Nigerian Export-Import Bank Nexim, which was established to foster the ease of exportation, has within the last 3 years made giant strides through restructuring of its operations towards achieving the economic recovery and growth plan of the present administration. With the 500 billion naira stimulation facility and the 50 billion naira exports development funds, non-oil exports have been boosted tremendously under the new philosophy of produce, add value, and export. Production has also been enhanced under the industries of cocoa, cashew, sesame seed, gum, and leather through the approval of another 25 billion naira. The industrialization and production of woven sacks for packaging of agricultural produce in Lagos and Sokoto states, the post-research and resuscitation of an oil mill in Borno state, and production and export of soya oil in Benue state have been enhanced through the support of Nexim Bank. All these funding by Nexim Bank is towards achieving the zero oil plan of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration.